Raid during the starting soon. I mean, that's the best part because we're just about to start, but what is going on? Okay, well, I guess I gotta go to my just chatting now. Yo, thank you so much for the raid, Daichi. I appreciate that. Always love seeing you come here. You know, friggin' just hold on. Let me shout you out, friendo. Shout out. For those that don't know, Daichi here was one of our wonderful guests on the VOD, and like what's interesting. Started to raid and run. Gotta take it. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. You are a-okay. I want you to know though, right now your episode of the VOD is one of my most popular videos on my YouTube channel. And it's the most popular episode of the VOD on my YouTube channel. So, you know, it's awesome. Anywho, you know, thank you so much for the raid. Hello guys, what's going on? My name is Val. I'm your friendly neighborhood fembat, and guess what? I'm the host of the VTuber talk show, The VOD. So you enjoy your lurk, Daichi. You have such a wonderful day. Thank you for trusting me with your community. It's a pleasure to raid. Sorry to raid and run. Don't worry about it. It is a-okay. You are all right. But you know, Cozy Sunlight, thank you for dropping by. The Limps Evie, thank you for stopping by. Drink up, I will. Well, raiders, if you have time, I'd love for you to stay and watch. Welcome to the VOD. The VOD is a VTuber talk show. It's called VTubers on Demand. And guess what? I have been doing this for well over 60 episodes now. 2 hours, typically twice a week, where I get to invite a VTuber onto my show and we get to have a wonderful discussion about who they are as a person, who they are as a VTuber. So I hope you can stay. Some things to talk about first. I still have a little bit. Evie will do just fine, dude. I got you. I got you, friendo. I got you completely. It's just funny. Just yesterday when I raided somebody, they're a very wonderful person. They were reading out all the names of the people that I took with me to raid, and they were reading all the names out in chat. And so it's one of those things where you want to read the name out, but you sometimes mispronounce it, and then somebody's like, "Oh no, they mispronounced my name," and I'm like, "Ah!" Like that's one of my biggest fears as a content creator. But regardless, we have things to talk about, guys. So firstly, next week I'm gonna be taking a little bit of a lighter load. Maybe not streaming as much. No episodes of the VOD next week. We're taking a 1 week break from the VOD next week, and then we're picking it back up the week after. Tomorrow we're doing a nice big good remonging. Thank you, Gooman. Good morning indeed to you too. What was I saying? So yeah, we're doing a big old collab tomorrow that I'm so excited for. We're doing Prop Hunt and Gmod. It's gonna be so much fun. Hope you can join us for that. And so we're putting so much content up on YouTube, and especially just on all social medias. So, no, thank you for the follow, Evie. I appreciate that. Oh my goodness. Well, you just threw 25 Dr. Peppers. And guess what? Since you followed, you get now 500 channel points, or 300 or 500, either or. And you can use those channel points to throw more Dr. Peppers in me. So just, if you ever want more encouragement to follow, you get good content, and you get to throw things. The price will never change, and there's never going to be a cooldown. So, I always like to encourage that a little bit. Plus, if you cheer bits, you guess what? You throw twice as many bits that you cheer. So I always like to throw that as well. So yeah, if you want to see more content that I'm doing, be sure to check out my Discord. Where is that? Discord. Be sure to check out my socials. I think it's... Check out my socials. And most importantly, please go support our wonderful guest today. Which... There we go. Go support our wonderful guest today. So, that's kind of what's on the agenda. We're a little late today, but that's okay. Complications happen on both sides. Mostly me, because our guest was ready when they got in, and I forgot to set up my stuff. So now we're just kind of sitting here with that. I also realized my mic isn't here. Where's my mic? There's a mic. I'll get rid of it. Keep that away. Heck yeah, supporting. Good. Go support our wonderful guests. So, yeah, I'm so excited for today. Because not only are this audio drama, so I forgot to mention. So I'm doing an audio drama. So for this month, for my voiceover event this month, it's an audio drama. It's a Halloween audio drama. If you are a VTuber who actively streams and you want to be a part of it, consider auditioning. I'm also looking for a couple people to kind of do a preview of it so I can get some of the dialogue down. So I have all of my sound effects. I have the script ready. I just need the dialogue. That way I can space out the audio effects for it. And I don't want to do it all myself. I'm like, I might as well grab a couple people in to help join me for that. So if you're interested, reach out to me and send like a demo reel or some recordings. I'll consider it and we'll see what we can do. So with that out of the way, why don't we actually get to our wonderful guest today? Where is my thing? Because they are patiently waiting on me. So, today, we will be welcoming a delinquent who became a superhero, the hag with a mouth. Their words, not mine. She's from Argentina, and don't you forget it. She loves old anime, retro games, and entertains her audience with weird anecdotes as she builds gunpla on stream. Please give it up for the punk rock riot queen, Maru Malandra. Hello, how are you doing today? I'm still coughing.
Hello.
I am still coughing. It's okay. We're fine. We're okay. We're okay.
Hello. I'm doing good. Hello. Nice to be here. Great to be here. So glad that you could make the time, Mr. O'Brien. I love your show. Always love your work, Conan. It's been wonderful. What's that? It's Val? Okay.
It's yeah. Sorry. My complexion's a little darker than Mr. O'Brien's. Surprised no one's made that kind of joke yet since being on this show.
I am old. I'm old, and I remember when American talk shows were culturally relevant.
Yes, back in the days of Jay Leno. Like I think that
back in the days.
Like we had the Johnny Carson era, and then we had after that it dipped a little bit, and then we had sort of a little bit of a pickup when like David Letterman was happening, and then I'd say it shot back up once Jay Leno became the Tonight Show host, and then once he left, like I'd say a lot of people watching Jimmy Fallon. So I know my family. Yeah, I mean,
no, people watch them. I watch a bit of Stephen Colbert's monologues, but like with the media dilution that exists now, you don't have like big, like tentpole TV shows anymore, because like in the 60s and in the 70s, everyone watched Johnny Carson in America. Whereas now, yeah, millions of people watch Stephen Colbert, but
they just realize their medium is more like social media at this point. I mean, take a look at Jimmy Fallon. A lot of Jimmy Fallon's presence at the time was.
I'd rather not take a look at Jimmy Fallon. I don't know where he's been.
Jimmy Fallon's a safe bet. He's a safe bet.
Yeah.
So, he's a safe bet. I'm a safe bet. Anyway, the joke.
I see what I did there. That's really good.
The joke is that people don't know I'm a bat, and they keep saying I'm a cat, and I'm like, all right, cool. And they're like, it's.
You don't have wings?
No, I don't have wings.
Then how does that even work?
Don't worry about it.
Okay. I won't worry about it.
Because I was in the process of making a lore video that explained it, but
excuse me.
Some things happened. So
yeah.
The way you act is more towards a cat. Explain yourself, Gooman. Explain yourself. Don't make me put you in
how do bats even act? Like what do they even do? They swarm at you.
They swarm at you?
I don't know. What does a bat do? I've never kept a bat.
Okay, well, hold on. This is you're the guest today. We're asking questions about you, not questions about me. So,
I'm an inquisitive mind.
I can tell. I want to preface this. I want to preface this whole episode by saying this. I have to say this is at one of the fastest turnaround times I have probably ever gotten from meeting somebody and then getting them on my show, because we rated into you from a previous guest, which was a couple weeks ago. We rated into you, and then you're just like, hey, where'd you come from? What were you doing? Oh, I was doing a VTuber talk show. It's like, oh, okay, I see. And I'm like, well, I'm always looking for people like, oh, well, if you want, I don't mind being. I'm like, oh, really? And I reached out on Twitter, I think, made it happen.
I think I might have reached out. I think I might have DM'd you first.
Really?
I think I DM'd you on Twitter first. Yeah. But I think you rated me soon after. I can't remember. Who remembers? Who keeps track?
Who keeps track these days? Look, all I gotta say is that life has a funny way of happening. Life has a funny way of doing things. But regardless, I have to say, like, it makes me happy how fast the turnaround time became with this. And so now we just have you on with that. And so I think that's a record. I mean, the only way that could probably be beat faster is I rate somebody and I get somebody booked on the show like that during that stream.
Yeah, that very stream is like, boom, you're booked. You're coming on like tomorrow. Right. I mean,
honestly, that's the dream. I would love to be at a point where I raid somebody from the stream from like the VOD, and they're like, "Oh, is that it's _ Valentine?" And I'm just sitting there like, "Yes, it is. It's _ Valentine." And they're like, "Man, can I be on the VOD?" And I'm like, "Sure."
Yeah.
That's the dream. That's the dream.
Yeah.
But we're living the dream right now. Why? Because we get to have you on the show. So,
thank you.
Without further ado, why don't I ask our first and, in my opinion, our most important question, and that is, I just noticed that my pillows don't have my face on that, and I'm really upset. I need to talk to my artist about that. No, I'm just kidding. Our first question, and in my opinion, our most important question, that is, Maru, who are you, and what is your story?
Oh God. Ask broad questions like that are bad to ask a yapper with ADHD.
Well, thankfully we have 2 hours and I have time.
Well, okay. I mean, if you insist. Who am I? I'm Maru Malandra. I'm from Argentina originally. I am a VTuber delinquent. I am currently, as a VTuber, in a bit of a weird transitionary in-between place where I've been there for like a year because of a lot of between rebrand stuff and IRL stuff. And we'll see what happens next year when I re-debut with like a new model, a new look that I've been teasing. I used to be known as Maru the Cinco. And it was like the rebrand basically started happening earlier because one of the things that I started doing as I brought in my content creation is I started writing for websites, and it was just like a case of like, I'm writing for these websites under my VTuber identity. I don't want to have to go back to a million websites to change the name.
Yeah.
And so I changed the name early. But that has generated a bit of confusion because I still have like my cutesy look that I had from my debut. I debuted in December 2021.
Wow.
And
time.
I've been around for a while. And this is going to be my first like completely brand new model, full rebrand going forward. I used to be a more kind of idol-themed VTuber with like a tokusatsu superhero kind of vibe, but like a very strong kind of like idol kind of tomboy look.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what this model is. And my next model and my rebrand is into a delinquent cyber VTuber, which this model, more kind of punk rock, which is kind of where I'm at as a person, where I am in real life as a person. So that's why I'm kind of in this weird in between time, and I'm also some IRL stuff that I can get into later. But yeah, so I started streaming in 2021 as a VTuber. My content has seen several phases right now. I do a lot of I do retro games. I do like the mainstays of my channel are retro games and gunpla streams. But also I just play like I play contemporary games. I do play like I'm playing Final Fantasy 16 on stream right now.
Yeah.
I do bits and pieces, whatever is my fancy. I love doing special streams that are not just like streaming a game where it's like something more creative. But those take a while to set up, and so I need to kind of like work on them for longer. And right now I'm also disincentivized to do that because I know that my new model is going to get me like a boost of attention.
Yeah.
Because it's going to be a really good model. And so it's a case where like I'm trying to keep some of those ideas to like close to my chest. And yeah.
That's awesome. Genevieve Yoso says, there's a cutie on your sofa, Val.
Thank you. But yeah, what else you need to know about me? I'm a hag. That is another reason for the redesign. This model and my general vibe tend to make people think that I'm very young until I tell them how old I am. And, until I drop little things like, I remember the 80s, So...
Hacks
so there
fantastic.
You go.
Thank you, Gooman.
Yeah. My new model will look like a bit older, less of this kind of baby face. But yeah, and no hate towards this model. It got me where I'm from. It got me where I'm at. But yeah, so that's kind of who I am. I have like a huge diversity of interests. Val, you're getting. Oh no, that's okay. No, sorry. I thought someone was asking you to Ara, but it's just like Twitch saying like, oh, you have enough to get Val to Ara.
Hold on, excuse me.
What?
I forgot that I have those redeems enabled during this stream.
Yeah, that's there. Chad, hey, if you have 1,500 points, you can get Val to Ara.
I haven't done that in a while on the VOD. How none of you?
Well,
how dare you, Bubbles?
You need that. You need to keep that practice.
Turn off the ooh-woo.
Jen,
no.
Thank you, Jen. Thank you, Jen. You're a real one.
How dare
Fanboy
you?
Mode. Good God.
No, we're not doing fan. Hold on. I'm turning that off.
What does Uwu do?
Oh, thank the Lord.
What does the Uwu one do?
Whew. I just do an uwu, but I'm not good at doing uwus.
Okay, but you do have to do an Ara, and in solidarity, I can give you a good Ara after yours.
Sure, I love doing the RR. So that's the thing is that in the past, right? I have what was I gonna say? I used to do that, and I would ask my guest to join me in doing it. But I realize that some people might not like that. They'd find it a little uncomfortable, and sometimes it'd be a little awkward if I just did it. But
yeah,
we can make a one-time exception for this.
Yeah.
So,
but I am pushing for this. I'm the one that is pushing for it. So, go for it.
all right. Hold on. Me sitting on my AirPods case. It's in my pocket. I need to take that out. Okay, now we're better. I want my uwu. I redeemed you your points. You're not getting the uwu. You're getting an RR, which is better.
I'll give you an uwu as well, but I want to wait for Val's ara first.
All right. Do you want the high RR? Do you want like the higher pitched RR? Do you want the lower?
Dealer's
RR?
choice. Whatever you want to show us.
Well, that's up to our wonderful person who did our redeem.
Oh, it's up to the redeemer.
So that would be up to Jen. Jen decides which RR we do.
Okay, I'll give you the uwu while we wait for Jen. I'll give you the uwu. It's like, it's something along the lines of uwu.
Honestly,
Yeah,
same.
there you go.
The uwu. I'm not good at it. Not good. There's your uwu.
I'm great at it. I just did one, and it was the highlight of the stream.
Ha! If you just try to post a link, sorry, the link didn't work. But Jen, if you're still here, Jen, that's up to you. We're waiting. There it is. As the redeemer, give me the deep one. Break me. What, like a Kit Kat bar, like Bane does, on the knee, spine obliterated. As you can see, my chat are full of fun people.
Yeah.
All right.
Freaks. I love it.
Oh, it's a shame I'm not as sick anymore, because when I was sick, my voice was really deep.
Wow.
So it was really deep, so I could get really deep with it, but I don't know how deep I can get with it right now. Break me like Bane to Batman's back. Hell yeah. All right. Did that suit your fancy?
Nice. Jen's having a good one.
Jen, you like that? I'm glad you like that.
Jen, was that good?
10 out of 10. It's you gotta, if you do it low, I think you have to do it soft, and you have to try and mitigate as much vocal fry as you can.
Interesting.
In my eyes, at least. So, because
Jen, before you, oh sorry, Val, I interrupted you.
Oh no, you're fine. Like, just doing that of just nice and smooth, nice and.
Hi, Mallory.
Welcome, Mal. Welcome, Mallory. Look, it's either that or it's the higher femboy one.
Great.
So
I love it.
You take your pick.
See, going back to my interruption, my thing is, right?
Yes.
I have the ADHD trait of interrupting people, but the thing is, I can't stop myself from interrupting people, but I immediately notice that I do it, and apologize. So I'm sorry that I did it.
Oh no, you're fine. You're fine.
I will give you 2 aras for the price of 0, Jen, just because I like the cut of your jib. Okay, so I'm gonna give you 2 styles. Hope you're ready. First ara, here it comes.
Okay.
Ara.
Oh.
That was number 1.
Had a little bit of meat on that.
A little bit of what?
Had a little bit of meat on that.
Yeah, I don't do voice acting. I kind of want to, but I want to do a lot of things. Yeah, it is. Yeah. Here's the second one.
Ooh. See, that's what I think. For RRs, the sussier the better. I just think it lends towards a better performance. You have to be in a mindset. I think you have to be in a mindset to do it.
I am always in a mindset.
You always in a mindset?
I am always on a mindset. 10 out of 41. No, it's 41 out of 41. Hilariously, 41 is my age, but we don't need to scrutinize that right now.
Novum, I feel like you were trying to say 41 out of 10. I think that's
Sorry, misclick.
I think, see, oh, Oh, I can see how. The 4 is right above the 10. Or
Oh
4 is
right,
above
yeah,
1.
yeah,
But you just have to be in that mindset. You just have to.
yeah.
You gotta get down low. And you just gotta.
Yeah,
close
I
to the
call
mic.
it the Vox Akuma mindset.
Oh yeah.
I call it it's the voice Akuma headspace where you're just some fuck boy from England, but Americans go fucking ape shit for a posh sounding English accent,
I wonder
and you
if
can
I
just
could.
get away with that. Which explains basically all of Benedict Cumberbatch's career because he's a
So
bad actor. Anyway,
so I thought like back in the day I could do it like I could do a like Connor Sea Dog impression. It wasn't the best in my eyes, because all it relied on is going down here in your register, and you're sort of speaking a lot with your, because the Welsh, how the Welsh speak, they speak very much in the front of their mouth like this, and then you
you do not sound like Sea Dog,
no, I
but
don't.
you do sound like John Rhys Davies.
Oh, from Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, but in Lord of the Rings he was doing a bad Scottish accent.
Bad
But
Scottish.
in Wing Commander, which is a series that is dear to my heart from the 90s, that I'm writing articles about and I made a stream on. He's one of the main characters in the FMVs of that game, and he plays a Scottish character, and he says cliche Scottish words that nobody actually says in Scotland, like laddie, but he has his own accent. He has his own Welsh accent. So that's what he sounds like.
Yeah.
Oh, Jen, you're from England. I'm sorry for your loss.
Oh no.
I live in Scotland. Get good.
Get good. Oh.
Sorry.
Well,
I mean, immediately bringing the international incidents.
Oh no.
To the pleasant atmosphere of the VOD.
So going back to Vox Akuma, right?
Yeah.
Vox Akuma exploits the sometimes he exploits the proximity effect, which is when you speak into a microphone, the closer you get to the microphone, let me turn down my the closer you get to the microphone, the more bassy the sound is going to be. Because what happens is the sound travels in physical waves, different than what light does. Light it just travels. And so, however, because sound travels physically through the atmosphere, through a medium, because of that, it hits and reverberates back and forth on things. Oh, I'm burping. No. So, as we get closer to the mic, those low frequencies don't pass through the mic, and so instead they just bounce back and forth between the mic. And once that happens, that's when you get the proximity effect, where you start to sound very deep, very bassy.
Kind of like this? Kind of like this?
Very much like this.
Am I doing it?
That's how people do ASMR. If they don't have like those ASMR mics. And so, like I said, you can exploit that by doing the RRs and making it sound a lot more bassier than they actually are. Just getting really close to the mic and just going to.
Do I sound bassy now?
Yes, you do. That is a
great
effect. Excuse me. So you get real close and
yeah, bro. Hada, bro. I got you, bro. You never help a homie out with Ara.
What? What do you mean?
You gotta help a homie out with an Ara.
What do you mean?
You know? What do I mean? You gotta have a mindset and help a homie out.
You gotta have a mindset. We just, what time is it? We spent like 10 minutes just going on about RRs.
Yeah, great. Fantastic.
I have a friend who lives in Scotland. We call him the wheat because what he wants to be. I see.
Yeah, in Scotland we can, in Scotland we can be like that. We can be wee shites. I can do the Glasgow accent. Obviously I'm a foreigner. I'm a
Glasgow accent.
You know. No.
The Glasgow.
I don't know about that, Val.
I don't know what the Glasgow accent is. I know Scottish, I know Irish, and I know several forms of British accents.
See,
I don't know
there's
the dialect, the different because
the Glasgow accent, it has like a certain musicality to it, and it's not just a generic Scottish accent, but it's also hard for me to do it when I've not actually left the house in like a week.
So,
cause I'm fucking sick.
So your first language is Spanish. Spanish. So that would be an accent for you. So for me, that'd be a Scottish dialect.
Well, I mean, no, I mean it is a dialect. Yeah, like Glaswegian is a dialect.
So for you, since your native tongue is Spanish, any language you speak after would be an accent. And so because English, because that's the difference between an accent and a dialect is a dialect is a variation of speech within your own language. So for instance, somebody from Colombia would be speaking with a different dialect of Spanish than somebody from Argentina. And so they'd be speaking with, those Spanish speakers would be speaking different dialects of Spanish. For English, I'm speaking with a normal like West Coast like English dialect. Whereas if I was speaking like somebody from Scotland, I'd be speaking in a Scottish dialect. But since
this is less of a cut and dry thing, generally speaking, but it is still a dialect for me because I am speaking kind of like a more standard English normally. A more standard, one would say, not really that standard because my English is a conflation of like British English and American English, but it is a bit complicated. It's a bit nuanced.
I love talking about the difference between accents and dialects, is because when you one of my professors, PhD professors that I learned from, he spent his entire focus of education is on dialects, and he's an English speaker. And so for him, it was he actually spent most of his master's and then his doctorate focus was actually in Sanskrit studies. And so Sanskrit is the language of India, and for him, and that's how it was boiled down to in modern linguistics. Is accents are the influence of one language on another as you speak, where dialects are variations of one language within itself. And so it's always fascinating to see how people who speak, just different languages, because it's very, like, I've heard many people who are French, who are German, who are Spanish, who are Japanese, who speak English, but it's always interesting to me to listen to people who speak French, German, Spanish, speaking these languages and speaking, say, another one, because I think I've only met like one person who I know who spoke Spanish, but they were also speaking Japanese, and so it was very interesting to hear that accent they had. Like I said, it's just
I hate to disagree with a fellow academic of the languages. I have a master's in translation studies, but I would not say a dialect is necessarily variations of the same language. It's, again, more nuanced than that. Because when you look at Italian, right? Okay, I'm going to throw a curveball at you. The Italian language doesn't actually exist.
Yeah?
Yeah. Okay, so here's what it is. Standard Italian is a modernization and standardization of the Florentine dialect. Okay. Because in the Italian peninsula, after the dissolution of the Roman Empire and as the centuries went on, many dialects that were started as dialects of Latin evolved and evolved and evolved. And yes, they can understand each other to a certain degree, but with the unification of Italy in the 19th century, which was one of the later unifications of European countries, because European countries used to all be smaller. Every European country is a collection of smaller kingdoms, essentially.
Oh, sure, yeah.
And so now you have standard Italian and you have regional dialects. Now, it really depends on where you are. But for example, in Sicily, people don't say that they speak Italian. They say that they speak Sicilian. And people from the mainland often have difficulty understanding Sicilians because of their dialect, because their dialect is more connected to Latin and to Spanish in many ways than to the Florentine dialect, because Florence is literally on the other side of the country.
Welcome to English and the rural South.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like how, like, you know, in Scotland we have Scots, which is an entirely different Germanic language that is connected and semi-intelligible with English, but also its own thing. So it's kind of like, I guess, like, the thing that I'm trying to say is that the concepts of like languages and dialects are a bit more nebulous than that, because that's how they work in real life. Like, you know, these concepts are nebulous, kind of thing. You can distinguish between language families. You can say all the languages spoken in Italy that didn't come from abroad are descended from Latin and connected to Romance languages, but you can't really say necessarily, strictly, that Sicilian is a dialect of Italian. Technically,
I think it could be a matter of perspective.
Well, yeah, it's I think it's a matter of nuance. It's a matter of like, it's very complex. It's a very complex subject, and it's not. What I guess what I'm trying to say is that, like, the way that you classify these things is not the way that you classify like elements in chemistry. It's more, there's more gray areas, there's more in betweens, which is what makes it interesting, right?
Thank you, Ash,
and I see you've been showered in Dr. Pepper.
Yep. And that's what's interesting.
Anyway,
it kind of reminds me.
Sorry, this is one of my areas of academic knowledge, so that's why I.
No, that's fine. It's an area of study that I'm engaging in addition to my communication study. And so just knowledge is knowledge. It's reminding me of a conversation I was actually having with one of my coworkers. It's funny that you bring up Italy, because I was bringing up with my Italian coworkers. They're straight from Italy, and dialects and just linguistics in general when it comes to countries. I feel like it can be compared a lot to food. And when I say it like that is, I had a conversation with my wonderful Italian coworkers, and they remain steadfast that the idea that food that is not prepared like Italian food that's not prepared in Italy is not good. It's not good. I respectfully disagreed, and I said, well, if you import the ingredients to a different location, regardless of where it is in the world, if you import the ingredients, the same exact ingredients, it's made by an Italian who's from Italy, they just moved somewhere else, it's prepared the same way that they do in Italy, is it not the same? Is it not just as good? And it boiled down to, no, it's not as good. And I'm like, how is it not as good? It's like, because it's not being made in Italy. So I'm like, so is the fact that it's not made in Italy just, is that the determining factor? And so the same thing is with linguistics. It comes down to a matter of perspective on who the individual is to one they see.
It's funny that we're talking about Italy, because Italy is the only one of these that I can speak authoritatively about, because I am part Italian and hold an Italian passport, and I'm literally going there in 2 weeks to visit my parents who live there.
Nice.
And I speak Italian. It's my third language. And I have my own perspective on Italy and Italians, because I am second generation migrant Italian.
There you go.
My grandfather was from Milan. And Italians are very dismissive of the Italian diaspora. Are we on the same page with the word diaspora? I know not everybody knows that.
Why don't you explain it for the chat?
Okay. The diaspora is like a diasporic community is a community that comes from one location and is now spread out far from that location. So, for example, the Japanese diaspora are Japanese people that are not in Japan, but that are in communities. So, for example, technically there has to be a sizable enough population. So, for example, the Japanese Americans on the west coast of the U.S., right? They are part of the Japanese diaspora.
There's a large Japanese population in Polynesian Islands and especially Hawaii.
There you go. So that's all. So all of these are part of the diaspora. So the Italian diaspora is like there's a lot of it, but a significant amount is in two countries. One of them is the United States of America.
Yeah.
And which is about a respectable 4 million or something Italian Americans. Respectable. Get on our level. Argentina has 40 million. We have more. Most of us are Italian descent. And that has shaped our Spanish. Our Spanish is weird because we speak with a lot of borrowed stuff from Italian. And so because of all of this, I have a very strong opinion that I share with a lot of Italian Americans about like how Italians from Italy can be, and I have a lot of family that are Italians from Italy, you know, a lot. And they can be very dismissive of the diaspora. And the thing is, you know, my favorite example is pizza, okay? Italians from Italy feel very, very confident in their pizza. The pizza is the best in the world. But here's what they won't tell you. Before the big diaspora, the diaspora happened in the early 20th century because of poverty and because of the world wars, right? Mm-hmm. And people went to America, people went to Argentina. Even before the wars, it was because there was a lot of like famine in the Italian countryside. Mm-hmm. Now, many of these people were from the Neapolitan region because it's very rural, a lot of poverty. Okay. So pizza is originally basically from Naples. Right. It was not Napoli. A national dish. Yeah, it's not a national dish of Italy. No. It's not in its origin. Yeah. But it goes to the diaspora, and in the diaspora it gets popularized because it turns out it's a perfect street food when you're living in a big city and you need to grab a slice on your way to the factory, you know, where you're working with Gino and all the other jamokes. You know? Yeah, and so pizza gets popularized in the diaspora, in Chicago, in New York, in Buenos Aires, right? Mm-hmm. And then once as time goes on and the world becomes more international in the post-war era and then globalization, like slowly throughout the 50s, 60s, and 70s, pizza gets popularized all over Italy because turns out it's the perfect food. It's the perfect food. Unless you're celiac, but we do not need to scrutinize that right now. And or lactose intolerant. There's ways around that. But so the pizza became the national dish of Italy because of the diaspora, and we make it better than they do. Oh. And I say that on authority because I've had a lot of pizzas in Italy, and they're good. The ingredients are fantastic. They're not bad. They can never compare to a Buenos Aires style pizza, to a Chicago style pizza, to a New York style pizza. They cannot compare. They do not compare. They don't put enough cheese on that shit. They don't.
You know,
they don't.
I guess 3 quick things I'll add. One, I was curious. I looked up the populations of the Italian population in America and Argentina. Argentina does have more, about 20 to 25 million, but America has about 16 million. So.
Oh, that's not the number I've seen before. The number I've seen before was like 5 million.
So.
Interesting.
But Argentina does have more.
We do have more, but we don't get any of the cool mafia movies.
Can't say anything on that.
Anyway, sorry. I've been on my soapbox. I've not even been talking about myself or my content. What kind of an interview is this? What kind of two job chop shop are you running here, Val?
I'm running one that curates content and quality over anything else, and I think this is quality.
I know. Thank you. Thank you.
I think you're the first person I've had on this show where I'm genuinely afraid of bringing up my food flow chart.
Food flow chart. Okay, we're
gonna get into that. We're gonna get into that later. Don't worry about that.
Okay,
now.
we'll get into that. We'll get into that. We'll get into that's for the second hour.
Thank you, Schmoozer.
We'll get into it in the second hour.
So the third thing is, it's just interesting how you just see how food evolves and just things like that. It starts in one country and it either gets perfected or just gets better and more popular in other countries. Because one thing I always like to talk about is like the hamburger. You know, when it comes to the hamburger steak, yes, it originated in Germany, but the modern hamburger we know, a patty between two buns, was invented in New York. And that's where it was invented. Something like, excuse me, I love myself. It's the good old standard. It's not Americanized. People like to say it's Americanized. I actually researched this a little bit of the whole fettuccine Alfredo thing. Fettuccine is a type of pasta. Alfredo it's named after the guy who supposedly invented it. In the early 19th or the early 20th century, a guy named Alfredo. I'm not joking. This man, I forget what his first name was. He made this type of dish. Comprised. It was the way he made the sauce and all that. That's how he made it. And so, like, the Americanized version is, Americans like to put cream and big and large amounts of butter. Italian, from what I've heard from my Italian coworkers, they like putting butter in things, but Americans like to take it to the extreme. They put butter and they put cream in it, a lot of cheese, and so I love that. I can't get enough of that. My mother made like the best fettuccine Alfredo recipe. It's the most Americanized one, where Italians shun us because we like to put chicken on it. We like to put meat on it. I can see you're biting your tongue.
No.
Okay.
No, I don't have any kind of elitism about that. I'm only biting my tongue because I'm waiting for a chance to say that Alfredo was a first name, not a last name.
Did I say it was the last time? I thought I just said it was a name.
Oh no,
because
don't worry about it.
Because I don't know his name. I know it's not.
Yeah.
But it was just his name. I just know Alfredo was his name. Because I looked this up like 2 weeks ago. So, but regardless, it's just interesting to see the evolution of how foods change over time and just. Where they go, where they start, like you said, pizza originating in Napoli in Italy, and then just I've never had Buenos Aires pizza before.
Oh, so good.
I'll take your word for it.
It's so good. It has a lot of mozzarella. The way that it works is there's like a bit of tomato sauce, and the base is a bit thicker. It's not like a deep pan or anything. It's not bread, okay? Yeah. But it has a thicker base, right? And then you have like a very, very like a bit of a tomato sauce, not a lot, right? Okay. And then you have about like half an inch of melted mozzarella cheese in there.
That is a thick pizza.
That's a thick pizza. It's oregano all over it.
Oh, I love oregano. I'm just looking at pictures of it.
Oregano on all of it. And then each slice has an olive with a pit on it, a green olive with a pit on it.
I don't know if I like.
And it has to be, olives. It's part of it. You can take it out, but the whole point is that when you take out the olive, right, it has to leave a crater of cheese. That's how you know that it's good.
It's the pit that scares me. It's me not paying attention. I bite into it. I break my teeth on a seed.
Well, no, you're not meant to like eat the olive.
Is it more of like a garnish?
It's there so you take it out and eat it separately, but it has to be on there.
It has to be. Okay.
It's traditional.
It's a commandment. It's a commandment at that point.
Yeah, it has to be on there. It has to be. Let me see if I can find you a photo.
Man, those are some large pizzas. Man, I kind of want pizza.
Let me see if I can find you a good photo. It's gonna make me hungry, man. Because I cannot access this.
So I've had different variations of pizza from several different countries. I've had Colombian pizza, which was it was interesting. I've had Japanese pizza, but it was a take on Japanese gyoza, so it was gyoza pizza. That was freaking fantastic. I freaking love that. It's delicious. And then what was the other one that I had that was just completely unexpected. I think it was one from Ghana, which was in Africa.
Ooh. Yeah.
So
Just sent you a photo.
let's see. Ooh, that's small.
Yeah, that's not a huge one.
But
That's not a
regardless,
huge one.
that's a satisfying pull.
But so much mozzarella in there, mozzarella and oregano.
Mhm.
You gotta, yeah. That's the basic, obviously we have it with all sorts of like toppings or whatever, but that's like the basic,
Oh yeah.
you know?
Well, food is a very big passion of mine. I freaking love food. I'm a big cook.
Yeah. Nice.
So I'm always loving to try new foods and all that. So I guess I'll have to see if I can find an Argentinian restaurant.
There has to be there. I'm sure there's recipes out there.
Well,
You're just gonna have to buy a couple of kilos of mozzarella.
Well, so I'm originally from I'm originally from California. I've spent most of my life in the city of Las Vegas, and Las Vegas is a very big international city, and so I'm sure I could find a nice authentic Argentinian restaurant run by wonderful Argentinian people making their cuisine.
You're more likely to find a steakhouse. I'm gonna tell you, because that's like a cliche. Like you get Argentinian steakhouses because we're very famous for our beef.
Really?
Yeah, because our beef is the best in the world.
Oh,
now bear in mind that I'm Argentinian.
I was gonna say that's a very bold claim there.
Bear in mind that I'm Argentinian, and we always say that all of our stuff is the best in the world.
That's
and I can't not say it. So, is it actually the best in the world? I don't know. They don't pay me enough for that.
Look, once the country sponsors you, that's how you know you've made it as a person.
Yeah. I'm a state sponsored agent of Argentina.
Well,
I wish.
Look,
I wish. Give me money.
It's always nice to have
anyway.
a little bit of. It's always nice to have pride in your country's culture. It's always wonderful.
I have pride. I have shame. I have a lot of feelings about my country.
It's okay. As an American, I also have to have those same feelings.
I was gonna say.
Look, no country is perfect.
Common,
No country is perfect.
No.
America is a dichotomy of being one of the greatest countries on earth and one of the worst countries on earth. It's very weird. And like I said, it's a big dichotomy. It's whoever you ask about it. At the end of the day, we're all just trying to live,
Yeah.
So
yeah, we're just trying to get along.
So we're going to make this next segment quick because I actually want to talk more about who you are.
Yeah.
But, excuse me, we are going to talk about my food flow chart, my food definition flow chart. Now,
okay, good.
Normally I don't give as much background because this is supposed to be a meme thing. It's not supposed to be taken seriously. And like, I'm
neurodivergent, so I will take it seriously.
I saw, on a side note, when I went to a convention this past couple weeks ago, I saw it was either a t-shirt or it was like a fan that said "Be patient, I'm neurospicy," and I'm like, man, I need that fan. I don't think I'm neurodivergent.
Relatable.
I don't think I'm neurodivergent. I'm talking with my psychologist about that. I don't think I am. But boy howdy, having a thing that says "Be patient, I'm neurospicy" is so funny.
It's really good.
So, this is my food definition flowchart. It's a flowchart that was made. In the Drunken Haze.
Am I looking on the stream or?
Yes, you're looking on the stream. So.
Okay, let me maximize you because I can't read it. Hang on.
So.
Okay.
It is a food definition flowchart that was made in the Drunken Haze of my head mod. That over the course of several streams, we have refined this to a point where it is an unbreakable chart. It is unbreakable.
Okay, what's the start point?
So the start point is all on the very left. So what we do is we take a singular food or drink and we can basically break it down into 5 categories. So we start like this. Take your food, your drink. Is it going to be eaten? That's the first thing you need to ask yourself. Is it going to be eaten? Yes, no, or maybe.
Wait. What's the maybe? Why is there a maybe? Immediately, I have a problem with this. What is the maybe?
So
are you eating it or are you not eating it?
That's the thing. People are confused. They don't know if they want to eat it. They think they might, but they also think they don't want to. And so the idea is if it's maybe, you keep circling back into the question until you have a definitive yes or no.
Okay, good. Okay, so let me check this out. Okay.
So I'll explain it. So if you're not going to eat it, don't worry about it. We don't care. If yes, is it state of matter, a solid, or a liquid? If it's a liquid, it's a soup. If you're unsure, don't worry about it. If it's a solid, we move on. Is it a singular mass, or is it made of multiple parts? If it's a singular mass, it's a steak. If you're unsure, don't worry about it. If it's made of multiple parts, we move on. If it's a layered dish, if no, it's a salad. If you're unsure, don't worry about it. If yes, it's a sandwich. So.
Okay, this has... I think your problem here is that you don't have enough categories.
I don't think I need enough categories. I think 5 categories.
Because
is more than enough.
what like according to this, lasagna is a sandwich,
Yes.
which it's not, because if you try to eat lasagna with your hands, you're gonna get burned. Ask me how I know. I grew up trying to eat lasagna with my hands as a child.
So the problem is that you're trying to think about this in the conventions of comparing a lasagna to a sandwich, like an actual physical sandwich itself. It's in the sandwich category.
Okay. Yeah.
So it's not a sandwich itself. It's merely in the sandwich category.
What's the difference?
Well, one is a cat. One's like you open a drawer and you put something into, and that's what its label is. The other is a physical sandwich. It's like saying, yes, I'm driving an SUV versus I'm driving a Ford Expedition. One is if I say it's an SUV, yeah, it's in a category of an SUV, but then we get more specific. I can't say that a GMC is the same as an Expedition. But
so
I can say
basically,
SUVs.
you're defining food by its physical structure rather than any other considerations such as flavor or
Nope.
or structure.
Because I don't think it's important.
Yeah. You don't think flavor is important to classify food?
Nope. We're going just based
because
on...
this means that a wagon wheel, you got those in America, right? The wagon wheels, yeah?
The wagon, like a for a carriage?
It's a biscuit. No. Okay. Alfajores, wagon wheels. What else have you got? Okay, I think the best I can do is an Oreo. But basically, according to this, an Oreo, a lasagna, and a Big Mac are all in the same category.
Why is a wagon wheel, looking at it, why is that sandwich?
Wagon wheel is like 2 biscuits with like marshmallow in the middle and covered in chocolate, so it has layers.
That would be in a sandwich category.
That's a sandwich.
That is in the sandwich category. It's not a sandwich. It's not the sandwich.
Okay.
So that's the important distinction, because if I say it's a sandwich, meaning it's in the sandwich category, much like I would say, it's an SUV, but it's not a Ford Expedition.
The other problem with this category system that he got is that it leaves out a huge amount of the food that is consumed in the world across most cultures are different kinds of soups and stews. By stew, I am also categorizing stuff like curries. So for example, what is a curry?
Curry is a soup.
It's not.
Why not?
Like,
what is the state of matter? So this is one of the big questions.
It's both. It's both. It's not one or the other.
So it can't be 2 states of matter at once. That's like scientifically impossible. It
have you had a curry, son?
I have. and so the way how we determined this, because this is a big complaint that people had, was, because originally it was, is it a majority solid or is it a majority liquid? And that was the question before. And the thing is, people would say that a watermelon is technically a liquid then, because it's 80% water and only 20% physical object. And by that logic, that would make it a liquid. I'm like, that's not sufficient. A watermelon is a solid. It's made of 80% liquid, sure, but its physical state of matter is a solid.
But when you have so a soup, it's very clear, right? You have a soup with some chunky bits, it's mostly liquid, right? That's fine. But when you have like a curry or a stew, you have liquid and chunky bits kind of in the same like measure, right?
Okay.
It's all kind of there, especially with curry. So it's kind of in the middle. It's kind of it's both. It has a lot of both.
And so when I typically ask these questions, it's not my job to answer what the food is, and that's why I typically defer it to say, if you pick something, I will interrogate you a little bit and ask you, all right, we got to get very specific and understand what this dish is, because once we break down these components, that's how we can clarify it. Because I think at a certain point, if it's 51% solid and 49% liquid, it's now a state of matter is a solid. The same thing applies to if it's 51% liquid and 49% solid. This is the state of matter is now liquid.
So according to your, I'm sorry, to put it scientifically, according to your fucking insane category system that is actually unhinged.
Yes.
If I have more bits of meat that make my stew have more solids than liquid, my stew is a salad.
Your stew would be a salad.
It wouldn't be. Salads are not generally cooked like that. They're cooked differently.
So how are salads cooked then?
It really depends on the kind of salad. A lot of salads are just raw and garnished.
Well, but what about what about like macaroni salad?
Well, it has the macaroni are cooked.
No.
But also, it doesn't exist suspended in suspended in a liquid element. It wouldn't. A salad doesn't do that because otherwise, it like all of the crisp lettuce. It all becomes all soggy and shitty.
Okay, so what if we take a bowl of ice cream and you put some chocolate syrup over the top of it?
That's ice cream. It's not none of these.
But if
none of these.
Ice cream is still a solid though. And this is why we get very technical, because there's a difference between ice cream and melted ice cream.
Are you arguing that ice cream is a steak?
Yes.
You've lost the plot. Like, Val's lost the plot, chat.
I've not lost.
Yeah, he's lost the plot. You've lost the plot. I'm gonna talk to your manager. They need to put in some occupational therapy. You're clearly burned out. You're clearly losing it. This is too much for you. Clearly, the stress of hosting the VOD has broken something inside you.
Look. The thing is that it's not that the chart is wrong. It's just that you're wrong, and the chart thinks you're wrong. I can't say it I can't say it with a straight face.
No,
because this is just a bit. This is just a bit.
I understand, but in order for the bit to work, I need to engage with it honestly.
Well, no,
engaging with it honestly means calling you fucking unhinged.
Look, just because you don't like the idea, it doesn't conform to your conventional style, your conventional way of thinking that an ice cream can't be a steak. That's not my problem. That's at that point, you just don't like the chart is sound. The chart is sound. You just don't like the results.
The science is sound, Maru. The science is settled.
And so look, at the end of the day, if you were unsure what it is, there's a category. It's called "Don't Worry About It."
Okay, I do like that you do account for that. I do like, because then you're technically accounting for all foods. Because if I at any point I'm in this chart and I want to yeet myself into the abyss, I can just go unsure and yeet myself back to the don't worry about it, and I can stop. So, okay, I will give you that. You did account for the possibility that a sane person would look at this and go, I don't know about this, Chief.
So, and that's the thing. That's the beauty of this, is that nobody's challenged me on the only time somebody brought up that unsure equals don't worry about, they only brought up they didn't like it because they're like, you're avoiding accountability. And to which I argued, it's not that I'm avoiding accountability, it's that I have, at that point, I'm classifying it as don't worry about it. It's like, but have you really classified if you say don't worry about it? I'm like, yes, because just because we say something is nothing, that's still a classification. Something can be defined as nothing, and that's still classified.
I'm coming around on this. Yeah, so
see?
Yeah.
Look, at the end of the day,
Because we can disagree where something goes in the chart.
Yes.
But anything goes in the chart. Like every single food item can be on the chart because at the end of the day, if you don't agree with the chart, you can still be in the chart because you just go to don't worry about it. If you don't agree with the classification,
that's
like,
it.
Not sure. Don't worry. Oh my God, the chart is sound. Fuck.
That's it. You get it. You've unlocked it.
Oh
Nobody else has done that. I can't believe
my third eye is open.
And that's the thing, because at first, what really broke this chart is people throwing in things that weren't foods. Because you can take anything that you want and throw it into this chart. Because the biggest meme that people in my chat, I just smacked my mic. The biggest thing that people in my chat have said for the longest time is humans are made of 95% water, therefore they are soup. That means that they are...
but there's the first square there that says, is it going to be eaten?
And so that's the thing. Are you going to eat a human corpse? Yes. Let's move on. We can categorize it. We can categorize it. And that's the thing.
We can categorize it, but also before we even do that, if you're saying yes, if that person is saying yes, then I think we should ban them from your chat. Because I don't think they're safe to be around.
I agree. Oh my gosh.
So
we found...
I can't believe...
enlightenment.
Yeah. Well, this is what happens when you're a hag, right? You're, I am someone that in my life and in everything else, my life has gone really outside the remit of where it should have been or what it could have been. And so I've always lived kind of in the margins. And so for me, I need to find the nuance in things. And the nuance of this is that you do actually have an escape clause. You have like a safety valve there.
If you don't like it, just don't worry about it.
Yeah, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
And
it is included. It's in the chart. It has a category. The category, what category is stew? Don't worry about it. What category is ice cream? Don't worry about it. But someone can also make the argument that an ice cream sandwich, that's a sandwich.
And how I sum up this chart is this. It's illustrated by the image of two people looking at a shadow on the ground. One person says it's the number 6, the other person says it's the number 9. It's just how you look at it. There could be one definitive answer, but depending on the individual, it's just how you look at it. One person will see something differently that you won't, and that's okay.
Yeah.
I think I saw you go through the 5 stages of grief throughout this entire segment. In the span of 15
I love food.
minutes.
I'm not much of a cook, but I do love food. And I do love insane theory crafting.
Holy cow.
So this is perfect. This is really good.
I'm sorry, you have no idea like how much I was about to jump out of my seat the moment you started to like... That was like the happiest I've like been in a long time streaming. Wait, no, that's not what I meant.
Do you know what I just realized?
What?
Your chart doesn't just include every food item. It includes everything that exists.
And that's the beauty of it.
And everything that doesn't exist.
Because
everything that you can imagine can go in there, and everything that exists in reality can go in there, because at the end of the day, if it's not edible, don't worry about it. If it's edible, but it's a fantastical thing like in Dungeon Meshi, sometimes it's a soup, sometimes it's a steak, but sometimes you don't worry about it.
Exactly.
Right? So what I'm trying to say is that this is not a food definition flowchart. This is a universal definition flowchart.
Holy cow, you are onto something. If I want to eat the universe, is it going to be eaten? Yes. Is it a state of matter, or solid or liquid? We're going to call it a solid. In my eyes, it's a solid. Is it a single mass or multiple parts? It's multiple parts. It's a layered dish. It could be a salad or a sandwich. The universe is either a salad or a sandwich. But going based on what I've learned in my physics courses recently, you know what I have learned? It's a sandwich. What? Because the universe is highly chaotic, but through the process of entropy and the chaos theory, the universe is highly ordered. And because it's ordered, that means it's layered. The universe is a sandwich, and I'm going to take a bite of that sandwich.
Wow.
All right, let's put this away.
Yeah.
Let's look at Pizza Rat for just a moment.
Yeah, let's look at
Pizza Rat knows what's up.
Pizza Rat. Yeah.
Holy cow.
Pizza Rat.
That was a journey. That was was a journey. So
I think my brain exploded, man.
so
I don't know. I don't know how to feel about anything anymore.
I think this has to be my favorite episode of the VOD in a while.
I'm glad.
Oh.
I'm glad. Listen.
Yeah.
I think the main thing that I want to do with everything that I do is I want to make people laugh. I want to entertain people. That's why I did stand up for like 5 years.
Heck yeah, I do. I did improv for about 10 years.
Oh, sick. You're like I cannot improv. I'm fucking shite at improv. Absolutely. I am not super good at yes anding and stuff. I am
time.
good at coming up with stuff randomly on my own just for myself, or like writing out jokes that I then,
Excuse me. So that's the thing, is that while I think I am very good at improv, I am terrible at writing comedy.
Mm-hmm.
And so the thing is, while I think it's a very good skill to be able to improv, I think it's a much better skill to be able to write comedy, because it takes a gift to be able to write good comedy. And the thing is, I would never in a million years, I don't think I could write a good comedic scene unless I pander to an audience I know is going to like it. My heart and full respect goes out to writers who are good at writing comedy. I can't. I'm not good at it.
I can only write my own stand up, honestly. But which is basically like a bunch of structured jokes that I then weave my way around, because it's not like I memorize the main beats and I memorize the punchline, and I workshop the joke, and I tell it to myself enough times that I know it very well, and so when it's performed live, it's never going to be the same twice, but it's largely the same story. And that if you consistently watch any other comedians and you see them perform the same bit several times, you'll see that they do it differently, because like very few people actually memorize them. But yeah.
And then there's,
I wouldn't say that I'm really good at it, but yeah.
I just lost what I was about to say. Sorry, you continue. I had a thought and then it went right out the window. You continue.
Oh, no worries. What like before we went into my existential midlife crisis of the food chart. You said you wanted to go to you wanted to do something for the second hour. You wanted to go somewhere else for this. So,
no. That was it. That was the segment. That was the that second segment, that was this. So why don't we move back to you? So, looking at your intro. So for those that don't know, the intros that I read out, I ask my guests to write it. It's supposed to be an introspective thing for people to have fun with. It's more of an exercise in like self-reflection. Who are you and how would you describe yourself, written as though, somebody was describing it for you. And so reading out what we have from Maru here, writing that she's from Argentina, that hag with the mouth, superhero and whatnot. Old anime retro games entertain audience with weird anecdotes and gunpla. Let's talk about that. As Rhett and Link would say, let's talk about that. What would you say is the most common type of stream we can expect if we were to pop into a random stream for Maru Malandra?
I would say just by sheer force of numbers, it would be gunpla. Although I wouldn't say it's like most of my. I would say it's like 50%, 30 to 50% of my streams are gunpla. But that's like a consistent thing that I do. So yeah. I would say probably gunpla building, me chatting away while gunpla building. I don't tend to do just chatting streams. My equivalent of a just chatting stream for me is building gunpla, because I need to be doing something with my hands. I have been doing something with my hands throughout this interview because I'm so ADHD. I need to be, so might as well be building a model while I chat.
It's interesting that you say that, because for me, I don't know if I have ADHD. I'm talking to my psychologist about it. But it's like, for me, it's hard to sit still, especially when I do the VOD. I'm sitting in a chair this entire time, and I have a butt ton of things on my desk that I fiddle with. But the point is that I know what you're talking about, where there's the constant need to just want to be doing something. And so, it seems that gunpla fills that. I mean, I always thought it'd be fun to do Warhammer painting or Warhammer, minifig building. And so how do you try and make these things interactive with your audience? Because bouncing back and forth between a bunch of different things, sometimes it can be hard to keep up. How do you keep your audience interested?
That's a good question. Um, it's interesting. I try to keep my audience interesting with like, you know, fun anecdotes, just yapping away. Sometimes I'm literally just like chilling. Like my gunpla streams are very chill, so they're very like, we can be chatting away about whatever subjects we chat, or I can bring up things. Usually like by the latter third, I'm just like very chill, just building away, chatting about whatever. And usually people like lurk a lot. Like what people usually like put me in the background while they're doing their own build, so they might not chat a lot. They just like listen to me chat and listening to the lo-fi that I got going.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that kind of experience. I would say I have what I have always called comedian's disease, where like I need to entertain people. I need to make people laugh. So I have the clown gene. So I try to be hilarious. I try to be ridiculous. I try to be absurd. And that's kind of what I go for. Am I successful at it? I don't really know. I'm gonna be completely honest with you. Like a lot of my growth has stagnated over the past year, for several complicated reasons. But like I still have the audience that I've always had, but it's also reduced a bit because there was the rebrand, which obviously you lose people when you got a rebrand. I was in a VTuber group that I founded in 2022 called Gatai, and then I left in September. Yeah, no drama there or anything. I just wanted to like be my own person and do my own thing.
That's good, because like I say it like that because I've encountered several people who've been a part of groups, and I actually had several people who were part of a VTuber group that kind of went downhill. And so whenever I hear VTuber group, I always kind of sit up in my chair a little bit. I'm like, you what?
Yeah.
Sorry, continue.
But it was fine. But like for example, we had like a group Discord that I pushed for. Like we all brought our communities to that Discord, and now I reactivated my old Discord. But of course, a lot of people didn't go back because they're just staying in the larger Tecate Discord, and that's that's fine. That's just how it is. But between all of this, I've lost some part of like my regular audience, and I'm hoping to get some of that back when I do my re-debut.
Yeah,
and I'm gonna really be hyping it up. And in the meantime, I'm trying to make other interesting content. So I would say that like, have I been able to retain my audience very much? It's kind of complicated. I have a core audience, but I try to basically make their day better by being a silly goober on the internet and just relaxing with them and trying to show them a good time. Like, trying to show them like a lot of my audience is like, oh, I want to play this game, but don't feel like it. I would rather watch you play it. I'd rather watch you play Final Fantasy 16, and make fun of Clive Rossfield. Sure,
It's interesting it's interesting talking about all this stuff. Looking at your size, rebranding and figuring all this out. 1.4K followers. That's pretty sizable. And so it's. I think if you're cultivating, excuse me, it seems you're cultivating and doing a very good job bringing together an audience of people who clearly want to see you and see your content. And so I feel like if you go ahead.
Yeah. No, it's complicated, right? Because I mean, first of all, I have like the debuffed time zone. I have the worst time zone for streaming, which is UK and Europe. Because usually it's better if you're either in Japan or
any of the 4 US time zones.
Or the 4 US time zones. The other debuff time zone is Australia, because it matches with Japanese time zone, but also doesn't match with any other English-speaking time zone. So Australia, or New Zealand. So first I have that, that I don't like streaming until like 5 in the morning. You know what I mean? Then there's the fact that I've gotten a lot of big follower bumps.
Yeah.
And I feel like when we're looking at, like, numbers are a complicated thing. They can get two in your head. They have gotten two in my head in the past, to the point that I've had to take like long breaks to like really recenter myself and re-find my love for this medium that we inhabit. And I do love it, and that's why I'm back. But when you look at numbers are like complicated and don't tell the whole story. So for example, like this is why you can have someone that has like 10,000 followers and only 5 people in chat, right? The follower number is something that is always ticking upwards for people.
Yeah.
Unless they're in a scandal and get canceled. But
you mean the VTuber Pride cycle?
Yeah. The VTuber what cycle?
Pride cycle.
Pride cycle? Why pride?
Because people get very full of themselves, and at a certain point they're like, I can do no wrong.
Oh, right. Okay.
Sorry. Pride is in, that full of yourself, not as in like, wonderful LGBT stuff.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So sorry.
So
confusion.
No worries. So numbers take up, and the follower count always takes up, but the real measure the real measure of an audience's size is really on average, like on your video views, your TikTok views, your engagement, how many people are watching your streams, how many people are watching your VODs, all of this kind of stuff. So follower numbers don't necessarily tell you the whole story. So I've had a few big boosts.
Yeah.
I started off, before I was a VTuber, I was an affiliate already because I was streaming before. And I had like 100 from that never came back. Oh. I had like a bump of like 250 or so followers when I was working on I made a Pomu Rain. Do you know Pomu Rain Puff? Graduated Ninja Sanji.
Of course.
VTuber.
Yeah.
She used to be my Kamiyoshi. I still love her, but life goes on. But I made a custom model kit figure of her with a lot of custom parts. It's the best model I've ever made. Mm-hmm. And I got a few bumps from being featured in clips and from talking to Pomu about it.
Oh, nice.
And yeah, so I got like a few follower bumps from that. But those people never became regulars. I got a big bumps from.
That's why your model looks so familiar.
Oh, yeah.
Because like looking at the entire time I've seen you and just seen your presence, I've always thought that is a very unique looking model, and it reminded me of somebody. And and Poma Rain Puff. That's like not like that. I think the last model that she had, or not the last. Which model was it that she had? But you know what I'm talking about, right? Was it Poma Rain Puff?
Which one are you talking?
It was like one of the. I think it was like one of the last models I saw that she had before she graduated.
Maybe the Metal Gear one.
Maybe. It was either Pomo or it was somebody else. I'm pretty sure it was Poma Rain Puff. Regardless, like,
But yeah, but I would have gotten shared around, like in the fandom and stuff. Like I got a lot of eyeballs.
Yeah.
And a lot of follows from that. I got like every now and again, like something would happen where I would get like 100 follows from this, 100 follows from that, like 100 follows from being on the Plastic Model Weekender, which is a charity. It's an annual charity model kit building weekend of streams that I've been part of. Recently, I got like a big boost of like about 100 followers from. I sent there's a YouTuber that I really like, not a VTuber, a YouTuber called Thew Adams, who's a Transformers reviewer and also a personal friend. But I sent him like, he does like he does like toy reviews and he does unboxings, and he like people send him toys, and so I sent him some toys and asked him to plug my channel on his channel, and he did it, and I got about 100 followers and one regular from that.
Yeah.
So what I'm trying to, and the thing is, like, you don't gotta count your followers like this, but what I'm trying to say is that, like, you also gotta be, there's like the tension between, like, you gotta present people the entertainment value, you gotta present people the star value, but you also gotta be realistic about it. That's kind of how I've changed a lot as a VTuber, because like when I started, I was all like, oh, I'm a big idol, I'm doing this big event, this big thing, and now I'm kind of like a bit more like, hey, motherfuckers, what's up? What's happening? And I think when I get my rebrand, I might go back a bit to being a bit more, providing more of the fantasy. But I guess what I'm trying to say is that the follow count speaks more to my networking talents and my capacity to get interest from multiple communities rather than my streaming.
And
if that makes sense.
Yeah, and that's what it boils down to, is what people don't understand is, especially like when in the entertainment industry, like I do audio engineering, I do voiceover work, and the thing is, the amount of networking I'm doing with industry professionals is there's a saying in the entertainment industry, in the American entertainment industry, it's not what you know, it's who you know. And
it's who you know.
And that it's not to say that you take advantage of people by any means. It means you're establishing connections, you're wanting to work with people to grow both of your audiences. On a side note, Pikami is who I was thinking of. Pikami's mom.
Oh, right.
That's what it reminded me of, was Amano Pikami.
Yeah.
So sorry. That's what it was. Before my brain forgets. But yeah, it's just, clearly, if these are the connections you're making it worthwhile. I mean, if even if you rebrand, well, you are going to rebrand, as you said before.
I'm going to keep the name. The name's going to stay.
Okay.
The color scheme is going to stay. The Delinquent Cyborg is the rebrand. That's what it's going to be. But it's going to look actually like a Delinquent Cyborg. Yeah. Okay. And so it's still going to be in the same vein of who you are. It's not like, totally different lore, totally different person. It's just a new look. The lore is going to be totally different. The lore is going to be new. I'm hoping to make a lore video. I got a lot of things on my plate right now, but I'm working on a lore video. It's going to be very low tech, because that bit, I'm not paying anyone to do that. I'm paying people to do other things. But
if I remember correctly, some of the best lore videos have been like some of the quote unquote, when I say crappiest, I say that in like the most endearing way possible, like MS Paint kind
Stuff.
of thing.
Yeah.
And so people love that.
Yeah, I'm gonna see where I'm at, because I'm writing the script at the moment, and I'm gonna see where I'm at with it. But I'm also trying to make it on a lo-fi kind of way. But yeah, so we're gonna see, because like I am trying to, in my rebrand, I am investing a lot into it. I am getting a lot of professionally done stuff, whereas in the past I have some professionally done stuff, mainly the model and some assets, but this time I want to to do the whole package. So I would say when the rebrand happens, I'm gonna be the same person. The lore is gonna be new, right? But I'm gonna be the same person. My content might change a bit, but it's gonna be, I feel like I want to bring a whole new attitude to it, right? I want to bring a whole new, like, which is something that I've been doing in the past year. But in the past year, I feel like it's incongruent with where my model is at, right? Like a lot of people that meet me and a lot of people that know me from before are like, oh, Maru, you're such a cutie. And I love that. Please compliment me more, please. I am desperate for validation. Do you think I would be being a VTuber at 41 years old if I didn't crave validation? Please give me all the validation.
It's okay. You're doing fantastic. You're a wonderful person. And just know, I put the val in validation.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Anyway, but
that
my
goes
point
for
is,
anybody in chat. If you want validation, my door's always open.
Yeah, if you need validation, Val's your bat.
See, you remember. Apparently nobody else does.
Yeah, well, because I am a kind and fucking sensitive person, Val. I'm a normal fucking human being.
Yes, I love the idea of, because I am so nice and I am so kind.
I am so nice.
I'm filled with love.
But
feels like an Always Sunny in Philadelphia skit.
But yeah, so like So like right now I'm still like I'm in that in between place where it's like, yeah, when I hang out, like this is how I talk, this is kind of how I talk to my chat. But also sometimes I'll be playing a game and I'll be going like do do do, oh well, being like the very cutesy. And I'm not looking down on that, by the way. I have a lot of friends that do that, a lot of friends that are like the cute uwu anime girl on the internet. Fucking valid. Go for it.
Get that bread.
I just don't think, yeah, get that bread and do whatever you want to do. Be a character, don't be a character. I think for me, I'm just more of a like grungy fucking, grungy punky kind of person. And so I don't like the new model is kind of going to reflect that within an anime lens, of course.
Yeah.
I'm being extremely real on this interview. I mean, completely not in character in any way.
Well, so
which is kind of how I usually am anyway. But
well, and that's one of my favorite things about this is typically like kind of glossed over a little bit. Whenever I ask the question of who are you and what is your story, I always like to say, talk about who you are as a VTuber, but we also let's talk about who you are behind it, not the important details, but just who is the person behind Maru. And clearly it seems like you chose the route of, hey, I'm on this talk show, and what you're seeing is what you're getting. This is the full Monty. This is the full Maru. What you're getting right now.
Yeah, it's basically you're just gonna get like random story times about a lot of very specialist topics like dialects and food and obscure manga and retro games and gunpla and shit like that. But it's because I've had like a lot of interest in my life and a lot of like knowledge, but also like I feel like my vibe is to try to be like very authentic to myself.
Yes.
But I think like the thing that I'm trying to calibrate right now is like the place between me and like a lot of people as VTubers play a character, right? And again, I want to stress this is not a judgment or it's better or worse to do it one way or the other. Japanese VTubers do much more of the playing a character thing because it's the tradition.
Yeah.
Western VTubers tend to not do that, but again, not a hard and fast line at all. I started off playing a character more. I stopped playing a character completely, and I'm now trying to, with my redebut, get to a place where I'm like right in the middle, where I'm basically portraying a character that is like authentic to myself, but also like an entertaining persona. That is also, I'm trying to thread that needle, because in that needle is content, and in that needle is maybe hopefully what somebody's is one, but like, but I feel. I'm in that kind of transitional moment. I feel like this is something that I do find very, very difficult as a creator, because I feel like a lot of my friends who have been at this as long as I have feel more kind of settled into who their creator identity is. And I feel like until this rebrand is done and I'm settled into it, it's going to be hard to see. And it's taken so long because I am a broke bitch. And
aren't
saving
we
money, aren't we? And it's been difficult for me to save money for all the stuff that I needed and for the new model that I wanted from a specific artist. And it's kind of going to be my big push back into this. And in the meantime, I'm trying to make videos, I'm trying to make TikToks, I'm trying to write articles, because I wanted to also I want to expand. A lot of VTubers are doing this nowadays, which is great compared to when I started. But when I started, VTubers, even popular ones, there's like a format, right? You're a streamer, you do clips, you do funny bits, you do maybe a few funny little videos with your mates. But now we have video essays to VTubers, we have tech tutorial VTubers, and I'm talking successful ones as well, right? And I want... because of who I am as a person, because of who I am as a creator, I want to continue expanding what that is. So, for example, like the biggest piece of work that I've had come out this year is I have been... do you know the website Hardcore Gaming 101?
I do not.
So it's a fantastic website that I've been a fan of for like over 10 years, which is basically a wonderful website that has a lot of retrospectives and like in-depth written reviews about video games, generally retro video games, like that tell you the story of the development, what the game is like, its historical significance, all of this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And in 2019, long before I even knew what a VTuber was, I started writing for them a series of articles about the Wing Commander series, the old PC space simulator series that I'm a huge fan of. And I wanted to have the website has the entire retrospective on the Ultima series, and I read all of that in the website, and I was like, man, I wish someone did that for Wing Commander. And then I realized that someone is me. And so I got in touch with Kurt Kalata, editor and owner of HG101, who is, I gotta say, absolutely a gem, best editor I've ever worked with.
There you
And
go.
yeah, and I did a lot of research, and I put out a lot of articles really quickly in 2019, 2020 that covered the first 3 or 4 games in the franchise.
Malcolm
Or 4 or 5. It covered a bunch of games in the franchise. And then I got stuck with writing the one about Wing Commander 3, because Wing Commander 3, if anybody remembers Wing Commander, they remember Wing Commander 3 because that's the one that stars Mark Hamill.
Well, it's if you don't mind me, are you okay with me reading this first paragraph that you wrote?
Yeah, from which article is it?
Wing Commander 3.
Okay, yeah, go for it.
So, this is what a wonderful guest wrote in their review of it. Orchestral music swells as we're presented with the game's title, accompanied by a tiger's roar. Almost sounds like a Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer game. And actor credits, big names too, including Tom Wilson, Malcolm McDowell, and none other than Star Wars Mark Hamill as the star. Malcolm McDowell, freaking love Malcolm McDowell.
Yeah.
Sorry. The man has a very interesting voice. It's a very unique voice. Before long, a giant ship emerges from a jump point. With pointed asymmetrical edges, it's not unlike a giant mechanical claw, and it enters orbit over the homeworld of the... I'm not going to pronounce... Kilrathi?
Kilrathi.
Empire. Kilra.
Yeah.
I'm not much of a... I don't read blogs, I don't really read reviews, but... Holy cow, this is like an entire YouTube essay.
Oh yeah, well that's because the thing with it is that, so I started the series with a certain style. I wanted to evoke the style of like very well written, like deeply researched games journalism that began in the early 2000s on the internet.
Oh, Tim Curry's in this game.
Yeah, very small role, a very small role. And I start, whenever I write about the main numbered games of the series, because there's a lot of side games, whenever I write about the main games of the series, I started from the very first game describing the opening cutscene, because in the first game, the opening cutscene is just like a bunch of fighters getting destroyed, right? Yeah. And a fanfare swelling. And I described that really poetically. And so now I am doomed to do that for every major installment when that format is kind of at its limits, but I'm going to keep on doing it. But anyway, so the thing is, I published all of those articles. Actually, no, the last ones that came out, I think were late 2019. And then I started working on the Wing Commander 3 article. Now, Wing Commander 3, it's a game that came on 4 CD-ROMs. It's very, very big, but it's also very big because it's the game that changed how video games are produced. Like, when people talk about AAA, the history of AAA games, people point to Final Fantasy VII as being the first AAA game because of its budget. And now, just so we're clear, I love Final Fantasy VII. I just clocked over 100 hours in Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. I ain't no hater, okay? But my argument is that Wing Commander 3 is actually the birth of the AAA game because it's the first time that you have a huge production with a number of professional actors where you're coordinating the cutscenes in Hollywood with the game being designed in Texas, and you have this entire large layer of production on it that is basically like this ballooning size where you go from 20 developers to 20 developers and staff to 200. And that is really the birth of the modern AAA bells and whistles, wham bam, enormous video games. It's the birth of that. And so because of that, it's an extremely difficult game to write about, because there's a lot to write about. There's between between what actually happens in the game, between reviewing the game, the story of it, the development history, and the cultural significance of the game, which has been lost for a number of obvious reasons, such as it's difficult to play it in modern systems. It's a franchise that is dead, right? So people don't remember it. The cultural memory of video games has been built by YouTubers that talk about Ocarina of Time and didn't have a PC in the 90s, or were not alive in the 90s. So it's basically a forgotten keystone of the history of video games. So it took me, the reason why it took me 5 years to write it is to publish it, is not because I spent 5 years writing it. Okay. Yeah. I did not, it's long, but it's not that long. I in the intervening time, I did a master's degree. You know what I mean? Uh-huh. But I had a lot of problems in my life. I had a lot of health issues, mental health issues, a lot of problems. And I have ADHD. And this is where I tell you some of the IRL stuff. We're getting real behind the model right now. So in about 2022, I contracted COVID for the second time. And this time, I got long COVID. And it never went away. And the way it manifests is that I basically have a chronic fatigue now. I'm tired a lot, and I have a lot of brain fog. I managed to, by the skin of my teeth and by my indomitable shonen protagonist human spirit, I managed to finish that master's degree. Oof. While holding at the time a part-time job. And I pushed myself so hard that I basically damaged myself.
I know
when you do that,
yeah, I say I know that feeling well, because I'm a senior right now in my in university, and so this is my last year, really hunkering down doing it. I'm having to do internships. I worked 2 jobs. Like this past semester, right before I left for Japan, I was doing so much. I was working 2 jobs. I was working 50 hours a week for one job, 20 hours a week in another, and then try to push out content. And just, college throws a big wrench in a lot of plans.
Yeah, from 2022 to 2023, it was mainly my dissertation. Oof. And the fact that I was doing it was a software development master's, and I had not done software development before. It was a conversion course. Right? Mm-hmm. So it was a matter of I was trying to juggle having a part-time job that was also software development, where it was part-time, semi-full-time, I would say. I was trying to juggle that with trying to work on my dissertation, with trying to make content, while also getting used to the fact that now my body could not sustain as much energy as before. Uh-huh. And that came to a head in September of last year, when I had to really push myself, pulling several all-nighters to get my dissertation in on time at the very last minute, because otherwise I would have had to postpone for another year, and it would have been a difficulty. Mm-hmm. So, but I did it. I managed it. I got a low passing grade on my dissertation, but because my grades were so high for everything else, I got the highest passing grade for the degree. So I'm very proud of that. But what happened with that is that for a lot of people that have long COVID, you get this brain fog. And the problem is that a lot of long COVID symptoms, the more you push yourself, the worse they get. Uh-huh. And I push myself. I'm telling you something extremely personal that I have told my chat, but I am open about it. I don't necessarily talk about it a lot. But I just want to kind of contextualize things. This is what the show is about. You ask what's behind the VTuber model. This is what we got. So what happened is I had such amounts of brain fog and fatigue that I had to quit my job. I couldn't work anymore. I literally just couldn't work anymore because like I've gotten better in the past year, but not to where I was before, and I was already not doing great. So the struggle for me this past year, since I went back to VTubing after my dissertation and after quitting my job, is that I don't have the energy that I used to. I am in the long-term process of learning to manage it, and I'm getting much better at it now, but I still couldn't hold down a job. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So for me, it's a matter of trying to find that balance and stuff. But one of the consequences of it, I think, in this past year, added to all of the other complications that I had, like leaving my group, rebranding, this, that, and the other, is the fact that I cannot be as active and crazy on stream as I used to be, because I get tired and my brain just kind of, you know, I get a bit tired. So it's about like trying to figure out how to maintain energy, how to get to that place. So that's why it's been such a transitionary period for me, and why my re-debut is actually going to come at a very good time, because I am now at a point where I'm like, okay, I am finally managing this. I am finally at a point where I know where my limits are and I know what I can and can't do. But it is difficult because I am now disabled. I literally, this is what I do with my life. I mean, this and, you know, go out with my girlfriend, have friends or whatever, but like, VTubing is what I do. So that's kind of where I'm at with it. I do not remember how we started this.
No, that's okay. I'll say this.
Oh, sorry.
No, you're fine. You're fine. You're just on a roll. I wasn't gonna let that stop. I'll just say this, and then we'll move on to our final 10 questions. And that is, clearly you have a weathered story in history, but one rich with hardship and trials that pushed you to where you are now. And, you know, nobody expects that stuff to happen. It just happens. No. But clearly, to say you've bounced back, you've recovered, that's simply only you can say for sure whether or not that happened. But hopefully the results and the progress that you've made since then, you know, receiving your master's, recovering from this illness, and then trying to make VTubing work, you know, to me it sounds nothing short of a success. So, you know, you should be proud of yourself.
Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome. So with that, why don't we move on to our final 10 questions of the stream? Excuse me. I'm still battling that sickness. So, you know, here's hoping that it's the cough is all that's left and a little bit of congestion. So I just want the cough to be over. Hate the cough. So these 10 questions were questions written by writer, actor, director James Lipton that who often asks his guests on a show inside the actor's studio. Now, these questions have no right or wrong answers. They're just questions for us to see what our guest answers are. If you are new to this show, you've not seen this before, I highly encourage you in the chat to answer along with us, because we'd love to see what your answers are. With that in mind, Maru, are you ready?
Give me a moment.
Take your time.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I am, yeah.
So, very first question. What is your favorite word?
Defenestrate.
Which definition?
It means throwing someone out of a window. It means throwing someone out of a window.
But it also means to publicly resign from in a public office.
Does it?
It does. So
I always just thought defenestrate just meant throwing someone out of a window.
That's the one that everybody loves and everyone uses. And I remember when I was like in middle school, I learned that word. But the other definition is to publicly resign from an office.
Do you know the etymology of that word?
I don't.
Let me. Well, it does come from a Latin root, because so de means to remove, to take something out, right? Finestra is window. In Italian, window is finestra.
Okay.
And the te is there to like verbalize it in English.
Yeah.
So it's basically window out verb. Window outing.
My favorite.
Yeah, I'm window outing you. I'm throwing you out of a window.
And then that's the better version. And then you have somebody who's like, from this moment forward, I'm going to defenestrate the role of President of the United States.
Yeah. I don't know where that usage comes from, but I will look it up after the show.
Yeah, it's a funny one. It's a funny one. What is your least favorite word?
Syringe. Mainly because I have been, all of my life, I've had like to go to hospitals for different things and have had to have a lot of blood tests, and I hate needles. I hate them.
I also hate
like
needles.
Yeah, I am the kind of person that like I can sit still for a blood test, but I will have a panic attack after. I just don't have a panic attack before or during.
I'll actually be going to donate plasma right after this, so they'll be sticking a big needle in me.
Wow. Oh my god. Yeah, I can't. I literally can't do that. I can't.
I've been donating plasma for quite a few years now, so the scars on my arms are deep.
That's amazing.
Donate plasma if you physically can. Go donate plasma, chat. If you can't, that's okay. So that's all I gotta say. Donating plasma saves lives.
Yeah.
What inspires you creatively, spiritually, or emotionally?
The power of anime.
Power of anime. What's your favorite?
Yeah, but like
briefly, what's your favorite anime?
Legend of the Galactic Heroes.
I don't know what that is.
It is 1988 OVA, the longest OVA series that was ever produced. Lasted for 110 episodes over 4 seasons, based on a series of novels by, I believe, Yoshiki Tanaka, and it tells an epic story of war and politics between two major nations in space, with loads of big fleet battles and big debates about democracy and dictatorships, and it's extremely good. And yeah. Also Saint Seiya, because I'm from Latin America and over 30, so it's the law. Yeah, good old shonen where all the main characters are fucking fanboys. Let's fucking go. Okay.
Let's go.
None of this Jujutsu Kaisen nonsense.
Hold on, you settle down there. Jujutsu Kaisen is great.
I don't like modern shonen. I'm sorry. It's all noise to me.
That sounds like a skill issue.
Aside from Chainsaw Man, but I wouldn't call Chainsaw Man the same as other modern shonen.
That sounds like a skill issue.
No. I've read a lot of manga and watched a lot of anime, and I'm pretty happy with that.
It's not my favorite. Jujutsu Kaisen is not my favorite. Like I have over 20 volumes of JJK on my shelf. However, I'm
so sorry for your loss.
Mine is the wonderful long-running series since 1967 and about 1967, Lupin the Third.
Oh, okay. You're based. You're back to based again. You're absolutely 100% based. You're totally good. Yeah. Lupin the Third fucking owns.
One of the longest-running anime series of all time.
Yeah, so, it's extremely good. It's the perfect show.
I think part 4 is the best one.
Is that the one? That's the one in Italy.
It's the one in Italy.
Yeah, it's really good. I was gonna say, in terms of other things that inspire me aside from anime, my chosen family, walking in the street in my neighborhood, listening to good music, the full Scottish breakfast.
There you go.
And drinking mate.
Oh, mate. So
mate.
It is. See, I'm used to a Paraguayan version called terede.
Ah, yeah.
So,
I know it.
Oh boy, howdy! That is a, whew. That's a. As an American, as a white boy, that is a. I can drink it. I just can't drink it often.
It can be very bitter. It depends on how you prepare it as well. Depends of which one you're talking about. I was actually gonna make some for this stream, but then I had the microphone issue, and had to spend half an hour doing that.
I'm not a tea drinker, so I don't drink tea often. Only when I'm sick.
Yeah.
So
I hear you.
What does not inspire you?
Capitalism.
Capitalism.
Capitalism does not inspire joy. Needless violence or aggression, violence or aggression as entertainment is one thing, but just being too aggro, violence, misogyny gets me riled up. Obviously, homophobia, transphobia, all that shit. I don't know, just shit that wrecks people's lives and days, you don't gotta do that. Don't do that. Fuck you. Don't do that.
Just be good people. It's not hard.
Yeah, just be a fucking human being and treat others like human beings, man.
Honestly. What is your favorite curse word?
How many Americans are in chat?
Probably most of them.
Okay, I'm sorry, chat. Cunt.
That's the Scottish.
I'm sorry. Yeah, it's gotta be cunt. How you doing, cunt? Oh, I'm doing okay, cunt. But yeah, that's the thing. Like it's like, you know, it's the beautiful word where like you call that to you call a friend that you call, like, you know, yeah, I can't. Or also like you say like, oh, that guy from the shop is a cunt, and it's both the nicest word you can say and the worst word you can say. It's the perfect word.
Yeah,
in Scotland.
I believe Mikey, who's in chat, I believe they're Scottish. So, and fun fact, they're also going to be on the show. So, you know.
Nice. Hell yeah.
They're going to be on.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't say I'm not Scottish. I just live here. That's what I say.
Mikey's on the 22nd.
That's oh, I am from Glasgow.
Excuse me.
Hi, mate. How you doing? You had an Iron Brew recently? I've not, because it's a bit too sweet. I mean, I love it. Aye, pal, you alright? Aye. I'm alright.
The VOD transcends continental barriers.
The VOD transcends. Anyway, but yes, sorry. Where was we?
Yes,
Where was we indeed?
We were the C word. So, moving on, what sound or noise do you love?
Okay, this is an easy one. I love the sound of a ratchet on a big robot toy joint. I collect Transformers toys, right? And one of my favorite sounds is the sound of the ratchet on, like the big robots. They have to have ratchets so that the joint can sustain the weight. Let me see if I can get one on the microphone.
I have one with me right here.
Hang on. Okay, here we go. Did you hear that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have several ratchets in my desk right next to me.
Oh, like actual ratchets rather than ratchet joints from a toy.
Oh no, like actual ratchets.
Yeah, cool. But yeah, I love that noise.
That's a very unique one. What sound noise do you hate?
Pigeons fucking.
You don't.
There's a story with that.
That'll be a story for a different time.
Okay, we don't have time.
We are a little bit over.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. That's okay.
No, basically, we had a pigeon problem in my floor, and I couldn't sleep because they were basically right outside my bedroom wall, fucking for 7 hours a day. And we had to get rid of them.
Just remember, guys, pigeons are actually one of the cleanest animals out there. So
that bit is not the problem. The problem was the sound.
The problem is them They're
very loud.
We used to breed pigeons. My family used to breed pigeons.
Oh, right.
And other birds, and so I know the exact sound you're talking about.
Yeah, it's very loud.
What profession other than your own would you like to attempt?
I'm not gonna do it, but I would love to try to be a professional wrestler. My health would not permit it. I did do some sports before I got sick. I play baseball very casually now, but I used to play a lot of football.
The great American pastime.
No, football, as in like real football. Come on.
Did you not say baseball?
Oh yeah, baseball. Yes, I play baseball now.
Oh,
sorry. I thought you meant because I said football after.
Oh,
okay,
no.
I used to play football.
No, so if we don't call
baseball.
America...
Yeah, baseball is the great American pastime. Yeah.
I'm like, we don't call football the great American pastime.
No, okay, yeah. No, baseball is great because it's less demanding physically, and also the team that I'm with, so it's more chill. I can just like run less and stuff, and that kind of helps.
Yeah.
But I would love to be a professional wrestler.
Sounds like
because this year I got really into wrestling.
Oh.
And I know that at my age and with my health, I couldn't really do it. But the character work and all of that the theatricality of it, I can definitely do it. It's just the moves and the actual athleticism.
Of course.
That is the main meat.
The meat and potatoes.
Yeah. But I love wrestling.
What profession would you not like to do?
I don't like. It's not a specific profession as much as a position. Because I mean, obviously, like, I wouldn't like to have to necessarily work in sewage, for example. But
waste management.
I don't like being a boss.
Oh.
I have been a boss in the past. When I worked in the gaming industry, I have been like a middle manager, where I had QA testers under me, and I was the most laissez-faire. They got away with murder if they noticed, like, because I don't like being a boss. I don't like telling others what to do. I don't necessarily love being told what to do either. You know, that's my punk spirit coming out. So yeah.
All right. And then for our last question, if heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
It's an interesting one. I would like to hear God give me an assurance there are no Tories in heaven.
No Tories.
Oh, Tory is short for member of the Conservative Party of the UK.
Parliament.
Yeah.
Of Parliament.
Yeah. I mean, I am almost certain that no dead Tories would be in heaven because they are all creatures from the depths of hell. But if I'm already talking to the big one, I'm just like, I'm just gonna give him a look, give him or her or them a look, and they're gonna go like, there are no Tories here. Don't worry, there are no Tories. I'm like, good. And then my next question to God would be like, can I get like a video feed of what's happening to Maggie Thatcher in hell, maybe? Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. This is also Scottish content, by the way. Enjoy that, Mikey.
It just reminds me of the just asking the Scottish, how do you feel about the Queen of England's passing? So what? I don't care. What? She's dead. What am I supposed to do?
Yeah, like friends of mine in England, and I mean some parts of Scotland, like, but people in England, there were like loads of like flags everywhere and loads of like stuff about like her passing and stuff like that. And here in Glasgow, there was, unless you were to certain areas, there was so little.
It was celebration.
And in my neighborhood, there were more Palestinian flags than there would have been British flags or Scottish flags. There was nothing, no British, no UK flags at all.
It is an interesting time we live in.
Yeah.
That is funny. That is I think the most unique response that somebody's given on this show. So with that is our show. Is there anything else you'd like to say? Anything brief you'd like to say?
Okay, yeah, you gotta say brief with me because you've seen how I just go. I can talk for hours, man.
Yeah, this show blew by.
I want to thank you for this opportunity. I've had a blast. We've had some good conversations. You opened my eyes with the food chart.
See, it just
works.
Everyone comes
it just
around
works.
To it.
It's like Apple. It just works.
It just works. Look, see, the thing is about the food flow chart. Once you turn off your mind and just turn off the logic and reasoning center of your mind, the chart works.
Yeah, once you feel your instinct, right? Once you feel your chart in your ultra instinct, if you will.
Exactly.
But no, I wanted to say no. Yeah, thank you for this. It's been wonderful. Hope I haven't been a bummer with some of the more serious stuff that I discussed. But like, at the end of the day, I'm someone that enjoys having a good time, enjoys vibing, and I, look forward to what the future has to offer as a creator. And I'm just really, really glad that I had this opportunity. And I just want to say thank you also for not asking me about that affair that we pre-agreed you wouldn't ask me about. So thank you for that.
Hey, I got you, and I definitely remembered what that was, and I definitely did not forget.
No. It's a joke. It's a joke from an old Stephen Colbert bit.
Oh,
Stephen Colbert was talking to Bill O'Reilly, and he did an interview in character. And then at the end of the interview, Bill O'Reilly is like, "Do you have do you have anything you want to say to close up the interview?" And then Colbert is like, "Thank you for not asking me about that thing that we pre-agreed you wouldn't ask me about." And then Bill O'Reilly is like, is like, "You mean with the," like he starts to say, "Oh, you mean with the dancer?" And then Stephen Colbert is like, "Blah, blah, 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 blah."
Dang! I wish I would have played into that, man. But the thing is,
You're fine. You're fine.
You had me at Bill O'Reilly.
Oh yeah, no. I mean, I'm not I do not enjoy that guy.
no,
obviously.
It's okay.
But yeah.
Stephen Colbert, good.
But yeah, no, thank
Bill
you,
O'Reilly.
thank you so much.
No problem. Well, thank you for choosing to be on. Like I said, this show is nothing without the people who choose to be on it. So I'm just a little guy. So
just a little guy, just a little man,
just a little
guy,
just a little boy. Well, I don't want to say little boy. It's okay. You have a full 20 years on me. So, actually, no, not full 20 years. Sorry, not 20 years. Almost 20 years.
I mean, it's okay. I literally have collabed with my friend Hanakyo, who is 20 years younger than me. Oh, so it's fine.
So don't worry. You're only 37 years. Did I say 37?
No, you're not 4 years old.
Sorry,
you're not 4 years old.
You're only about 17 years older than me. So
okay, yeah, that makes sense. That makes more sense than the other thing.
So, but anywho, it's time for me to ask my last and, in my opinion, second most important question. That is, who shall we raid that we haven't raided before? And before you answer that, put their name in the chat for all to see. And while you do that, I am going to address our chat. Thank you guys so much for joining us today on this wonderful episode of the VOD. This has been so much fun. I can't remember the last time I had this much fun on an episode of the VOD. Like, all the episodes of the VOD are fun, but like this one was just the chaotic energy we had. Woo! Not to mention, I'm just not as sick, so that's also playing a role. So, but thank you guys so much for joining me today. It's been so much fun. If you're not following me on YouTube, I hope you can follow me on YouTube. It's where's my YouTube channel? I'll just link that directly. That is a name, Karate Bug Mom.
Oh yeah, so that is Sonomi Kan, my VTuber wife, who is currently live crocheting and talking to chat. Hell and yeah. Her name is Sonomi Kan. She just has the handle Karate Bug Mom.
So I encourage you, follow me on YouTube. I'm posting there almost every day. Follow me on Twitter. That's where you can see my trash takes and any updates. And if you're not a part of my Discord, join my Discord. I have a lot of fun things I'm planning there. Plus, I'm doing my next VTuber voiceover showdown, which I'm planning there. Join me tomorrow as we're going at 3 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, as we're going to be playing Prop Hunt and playing Gmod. So with a bunch of other VTubers. So with that in mind, let us get that raid going. Mods, where's my mods? There's no mods, and my mods are not here today. It's okay. Let's see, VOD raid. VOD raid 1. So the one above is for our wonderful subscribers. The one below is for our wonderful bottoms and followers. So I know what I said. Is for our wonderful followers. So please join me as we raid the wonderful Karate Bug Mom. Where's that? I gotta search for that. Oh dear, I'm dying. So let's give them a nice warm shout. And yeah, we gotta wait 10 seconds for this to
no worries,
get going. You know, the awkward phase of just sitting here just talking, you know, and just it's not like we've been doing that for the past 2 hours.
No, not at all.
No. Anywho, guys, it's been wonderful. My name is Val. This has been Maru Malandra, and I thank you for joining us on the VOD. Join us tomorrow as we play more stream stuff. Anywho, I'm awkward, and I will see you guys later. Bye-bye.
Bye.
send it to y'all so you can